excavators at the port and the quantum of excavators coming into Ghana. Frightening. Frightening. 10,000. I think it said 10,000 on the high seas coming.
But 2,000 every day.
200. 200 every day.
200 excavators every day.
We're Ghana.
I saw an interesting stat that says that we have in Ghana here the most excavators out of, I think, probably on the continent. I have to check that.
You see, right now, the proviso that he's given, there's a proviso in there where they would allow. I think anybody who wants to use excavators for galamsey, it should come from a pool. The government should have a pool, and you're scrutinized before they give you the escalator. But if you leave them to bring the escalators in, they'll bypass whatever conditions the government has put in place. They have to have control over it.
It's a big conversation.
If 10,000 is coming up, it's not easy.
And we know what that means.
Yes, you know what that means.
All right, let me also introduce to you this morning Professor Enoch Opoku-Entry. He's a governance expert and a policy analyst. Prof, hello, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Helen. It's always a pleasure to be here. I also have a couple of issues on my mind. Let's decriminalize the petty crimes in our prisons. I think there are a lot of guys there who are not supposed to be there. Let's give them some job to do, and then because our prisons are so congested, and it's not reforming the people, because correctional places are supposed to reform the people, and we are not getting that result. So let's look at that. The second one is that we should take care of our disabled people. They need our help. The third one is WAEC. Junior high schools are going to have their exams this week. They are studying, and WAEC is crying loud about examination malpractices. We should all guard against that, because it undermines the integrity and the credibility of our examinations. The last one is the coalition of political parties who went to seek political diplomatic help about the Chief Justice issue. I think we should respect our own sovereignty and stop going to foreigners when we have an issue bordering on our own constitutional processes. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Prof. Also, Abraham Amalaba is Acting Director General, National Road Safety Authority. Good morning.
Good morning to you. You know the song you played, your signature song, before the start of the program. It's a song that we Pan-Africanists enjoy listening. It's inspirational. It is that type of song that can, put you in the mood. So I think you have kick-started the discussions, but I think that what we are not also averting our minds to as Ghanaians is the frequent spate of accidents. People are likely to die out of accident than the ailment they are suffering. We all have hospital cards, but with the spate of accidents, our numbers are so huge that they go above the internationally accepted numbers of accidents. Yes, once you have a transport system, there will be accidents. But the transport system is not supposed to be killing you. The transport system is to aid you to travel, to move. But in Ghana now, every day you have accidents occurring. I am going to write to the National Security to return the police MTTD onto the streets. There are black spots. We have some parts of our road we call black spots, where constantly there are accidents. I'm going to write to them to return policemen to those places. Because some of the drivers now think that because the police are no more on the streets, it is like Formula One. You just be driving and drive to kill. So I think we must avert our minds to that one too.
Thank you so much for that. Also joining in on the discussion this morning, Austin Bracco Powers is a private legal practitioner. Good morning to you, Austin. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I think tie my conversation to what my seniors have already put across. I watched a video on your socials, and it displayed a group of vigilante, some boys, men with heavily armed, men with guns, who tried to stop some government officials from transporting Chinese nationals who were allegedly arrested from engaging in illegal mining activity, and that got me scared. Where did they get those guns from? I mean, who armed them? You know, it's a serious issue that we need to, open up a major conversation. Where are they being? Who is sponsoring them? Who is funding them? Where are they getting the guns from? Are those guns registered for use? And they're happy, displaying the guns as if they own the whole country. They don't respect anybody, as if there are no laws here. I think the authorities should begin to crack the whip and let's see some action. If the galamsey fight is becoming a difficult one, then we need a multi-pronged approach to address it. If it is to go hardcore, we need to go hardcore.
Okay, where hardcore would look like what?
No, so we need, it should be a multi-sectorial approach. Let's bring on board the various security agencies as well as CSOs. Let's dialogue. Do we need heavy, if we want to heavily militarize those places, those spots, then we can do that. Because the way they are brandishing their arms in public, in the community, I mean, it's driving fear into the people.
Certainly. Austin, thank you for that.
On this platform, some few months ago, even some few years ago, I kept saying it, that we won't have a war. But what we would have is terrorists, all these sorts of people coming in because of the gold. And yesterday I heard one international organization, I've forgotten the name, has indicated that it is happening in Ghana today.
So it's already too
late. When I said shoot to kill, people were insulting me. Kwame, what do you mean shoot to kill?
They said you were being too harsh.
I've been too harsh. They are going to be harsh on us. And it's going to start from our communities. That is where it's going to start from. What do they have? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. We should face them boot for boot. If it's a war we have to go into with them, we will face them boot to boot. Kill a few of them.
It's a war on galamsey. But let's get into our discussion for the morning. And we'll take a look at a few clips before we come back in studio and start dissecting the issues. We'll kick things off with Honorable Atuforsen on the floor of Parliament. He's the Finance Minister, explaining why we need to pay 1 Ghana cedi on every litre of fuel sold. We'll also take a look at President Mahama assenting to this 1 Ghana cedi levy on fuel, and then also listen to Honorable Anodompre of the NPP. Take a look. We'll also take a look at President Mahama assenting to this 1 Ghana cedi levy on fuel, and then also listen to Honorable Anodompre of the NPP. Take a look.
To help raise additional revenue to fund the needs in the power sector, the government is proposing an increase in export price of petrol, diesel, and related products. The impact will be absorbed by the gains made from the strong performance of the Ghana cedis. The Speaker, I repeat, the impact will be absorbed by the gains made from the strong performance of the Ghana cedis. And this will mean that consumers will not have to pay extra for the price of petrol and diesel beginning today. Right, Honorable Speaker, our simulations suggest that there will be no increase in the export price of petrol and diesel in the next window beginning today if the levy is imposed. This is because of a strong Ghana cedi. Right, Honorable Speaker, the levy will serve as a dedicated source of funding to the power sector, and the proceeds will be earmarked for the procurement of essential fuel for power generation.
I have the Energy Sector Levy Amendment Act 2025. The energy sector debt has been the Achilles heel of our economic growth and sustainability for many years, and there have been many attempts to try to resolve it. From the time of the toll levy to the Energy Sector Levy Act, ESLA. Today, we're signing the Energy Sector Levy Amendment Act. All this in a view to trying to eliminate the energy sector debts and stop the crisis in the energy sector, and create an energy sector that delivers lower tariffs and better service to our people. I wish to pledge the Ghanaian people that we are determined to solve this energy sector crisis once and for all and resolve the issue of the energy sector debt. With the recent performance of the Ghanaian economy, we have seen a drop in the price of petroleum products. I want to thank the transport unions and the drivers for their cooperation in passing on the savings to the Ghanaian people. Since then, the petroleum prices have dropped further at the pump. We believe that it will be a useful use of the extra savings that has occurred to try and pay down the energy sector debt and also pay for the expensive liquid fuel that we use to generate power. The fuel component of power generation is not captured in the...
We call on the government to immediately withdraw or reduce this predatory levy and instead focus on genuine reforms to improve the efficiency and transparency of the energy sector. I urge all Ghanaians to join us in opposing this unjust and economically devastating tax Atto and his government has forced on us. Now, the minority in the coming days, in solidarity with the Ghanaian people, will be staging a number of actions to demand the withdrawal or the reversal of this tax. We consider it draconian, we consider it as insensitive, and we consider it as an action that depicts of a government that is out of touch with the people of this country, having barely been in office for 6 months. This is a disgrace. So we, as part of the series of actions, we are going to engage the Ghanaian people, and then we are going to engage transport owners in the open, and then from there, it will result in, because their actions, we are fighting on their behalf. We don't have power of our own, we represent our people. So our MPs will go to their constituencies and have a discussion with them that this is the taxes that they are going to pay. Taxes that has been introduced by the government of the day. And then we'll pick their input. Based on their input, that would inform our action. I can tell you on authority that demonstration is just one. There are a series of things we are going to do. And we will not do anything that will be out of touch with the people of this country. Normally when people say we are going to show, we are going to bear our teeth at the government, they simplify and say demonstration. There are a lot of things we are going to do. And if we find it necessary to go on demonstration will form a microscopic aspect of...
We are here to make sure we organize this press conference on behalf of all transport operators. Commercial transport operators, including GPRTU of TUC, are by this statement demanding immediate removal of the 1 cedi energy sector levy imposed on petroleum products. This levy, which is coming on the heels of the recent reduction in transport fares, will significantly increase operational costs, resulting in loss of income, which will affect our livelihood and the general public. We are therefore calling on government to reverse the levy immediately and engage us on major stakeholders on the way forward. In the event that our call is not heeded, we will be compelled to take industrial action and park our vehicles on June 10th, 2025. We urge the government to consider the impact of the levy on the transport sector and the consequences of our action on the economy, and engage us on meaningful deliberations.
All right, well, the conversation continues in studio. A reminder that we're also live on 3FM Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Lloyd Jantwa, let me start off with you, please, on this subject. We listened to the finance minister. He says we have some big bills to pay. There's huge debts in the energy sector. I've also heard Honorable Jinapor talk about the need to purchase fuel, hence why this levy has been placed on every litre of fuel. At the heart of this conversation is an energy sector in crisis. Now, what are the real risks if Ghana's energy debt continues to go unchecked?
Good morning to our viewers. You're trying to tell me you and I and everybody here don't know the risk? Let me start from where Zoda Anodompre
That's right.
finished from. What is his solution? What is his solution? We have a debt of 80 billion cedis. Is that debt there? Is it true that we have a debt of 80 billion cedis?
92 points.
Is it true we owe Car Power 400 million cedis? Is that true? Is it true that we need nothing less than 24 million to purchase fuel? Is it true? All these figures, is it true? If it is true, how long, when did the MPP leave power? How many months ago?
Say about 5 now.
5 months. Were they able to solve it? So, is this not a national issue? Should we not see it as a national issue and not bring the politics inside? Because we've been here before where Doomsday is concerned, haven't we?
Indeed.
It's a necessary evil, so far as I can see. It's a necessary evil. The debts will mount because where electricity is concerned, there are costs. We are not able to collect revenue enough to be able to use the cash waterfall to pay for the IPPs and to pay for debts that we have. We do not have the money to be able to procure fuel. Why? We haven't done exploration to production in 8 years. So we have stranded gas. Do we not have a gas refinery? If the gas was flowing, would it not go in there? Will we not be able to bring down the cost? Has it happened? At the present moment, thermal is about 70%. Hydro is about 28–30%. Even if we wanted to dam our rivers, Galamsey does not allow us to do that. And the debt will keep mounting. So, what is the solution of the MPP? It's a national issue. It's not a party issue. What is the solution? So the Minister of Finance says, I'm going to charge you 1 cedi. There are factors that contribute to whether this 1 cedi will work or not. The first factor, the depreciation of the cedi. Remember him saying that the cedi has appreciated.
Indeed.
So we would not find any additional cost in what? In our petrol. But if the cedi depreciates, it depreciates the 1 cedi. If oil prices go up, it affects the 1 cedi. So mine is, tell us how we buffer that 1 cedi in case of things happening that are out of your control.
So, Lawyer Jantwa, you say that it's twofold. The cedi has to remain stable for us to really be able to handle this 1 Ghana cedi on 1 litre per fuel. Because, of course, if there's volatility in the space, all the gains that we're talking about now go out the window.
What did the finance minister say? He predicated his argument on the fact that we have what?
A stronger
strong
cedi. That's right.
If the cedi depreciates, that 1 cedi can drop to 80 pesos, can drop to 70 pesos. That means there's a shortfall.
Indeed.
Where do we get that shortfall from? So he needs to be able to tell us how we buffer that 1 cedi. Number 3, I heard the president say this 1 cedi is not going to be paid into the consolidated fund. Fine. But we should be very, very, very careful to target that 1 cedi to the energy sector and the energy sector alone. Very important. If we don't target it to that and we push it to other areas, then we are biting our nose to spite our face. We've got to be very, very, very clinical in how we use this money. We've got to be very, very transparent and what? And accountable to how we use this money. I don't want a situation where, when this thing works, we now apply this particular process to other areas. So come and tell us, we need 1 cedi to clear galamsey waters. I don't want it to be something that is now going to be a thing that government is going to use. It is specific, specific to the energy sector and the energy sector alone. We need to clear the debt, because right now, power is the lifeblood of any country in terms of industrialization. And then I would want to see a situation where government has put in a policy to see how we bring in renewables, to see how the generation mix will work, to see how nuclear would also come in and help us shore up our energy. Not just the 1 cedi, it's a much bigger discussion so far as I'm concerned. But most importantly, they're saying we all have to pay it, right? Every Ghanaian has to pay it. What about AB?
What about AB?
What about AB? What is AB's position?
Well, I'm one of the Ghanaians.
No. What is AB? What is AB's position? I'm making a point. What is AB's position?
I'm no more a Ghanaian.
What is AB's position?
He's an acting director general, National Road Safety Authority. Lawyer, I know where you're going with this because that conversation is on social media.
I'm going with it. Let me go with it.
Let me follow you.
Let me go with it. So he's an acting
director general
for road safety.
Indeed.
He doesn't drive his own vehicle, does he?
I'll have to ask him.
No, he doesn't drive his own vehicle. He drives the company vehicle. If he's driving the company vehicle, he's got coupons to buy petrol. Is he paying the 1 cedi? Is he paying the 1 cedi? And I'm generalizing, I just use him as an example. Is he paying the 1 cedi? Is he part and parcel of us paying the 1 cedi? So the 6,000 and over people that the president nominate, are they paying the 1 cedi? And if they are not, I want the Minister of Finance to find a way where everybody is in there, including those who have government positions. They are all in there, because we need to be able to handle this together. It's important that everybody sees that everybody is sacrificing. We cannot afford to do so. The added value of clearing this debt, the added value of having constant power, the added value of having the kind of feedstock that will power our generators is key. Because you see, we are not only talking ECG, we are talking NEDCO. The debt in NEDCO is huge. And if the president says this 1 cedi is going to clear all this, I'm prepared to sacrifice.
But Lawyer Johnson, I do have a question off the back of this. Talking about the structural issues that exist in the energy sector, if somebody describes this measure as putting a plaster on a gunshot wound, would you agree with that?
This particular process is not going to solve the problems. It's a stepping stone. The problems have got to do with management style. The problems have got to do with equipment. The problems have got to do with lines. Those we need to find a way to handle. But most of all, which could take some time, most of all, we should go back to exploration and production to uncap the the stranded gas in there. It's a good thing that government says they're going to build another Etwabo. And I hope they will build that another Etwabo in the Accra area. Because you see, when you look at the offshore map, offshore petroleum map upstream, when you look at the western side, that is where all Ghana's oil and gas is. Accra Basin, Sopon Basin, Keta Basin, all bare. And a lot of our natural resources where oil is concerned is in that direction. And so if a gas infrastructure is based in the Accra area, then piping gas there is shorter. You don't have to now put pipes in all the way to Etwabo. But then we can now uncap non-associated fields. Associated fields are the ones where you have oil and gas. Non-associated are those with only gas. And get the gas in, because we have gas. If we had done exploration to production in the last 8 years, at least we would not need the quantum of money we need now to buy thermal. So it is something that needs to come together, not only one thing, say, oh, one city. There are other attributes that will contribute to making this thing work. And if we don't look at those attributes, then probably down the road, we'll be shooting ourselves in the foot. And remember, this debt is not an MPP debt alone. It is through this Fourth Republic. There are quite a huge number of legacy debts. I would have also liked the finance minister, and I'm not sure whether he's told us. I would like him to tell us, ESLA, where we are today with ESLA. How much money do we have in there? How is this going to add to it? Because when you look at the what do you call it, the cost build-up in terms of fuel, when you look at the cost build-up, road fund levy, it goes for support for road maintenance. Energy fund levy, support energy commission activities. Special petroleum tax as part of VAT reforms. And those VAT reforms is tied into our, what do you call it, the monies that we've gone from IMF. It's tied into it. So we can't even touch that one at the present moment. Primary distribution margin offsets costs incurred in moving products from the coastal depots to the inland depots. We can't do anything about that. Primary distribution margin. Then we have bust margin. Fund maintenance, operations, and expansion of depots in the industry. Fuel marking margin. Marking of petroleum products to prevent tax revenue loss. And then UPPF. Ensure price uniformity. All petrol stations. Distribution compensation margin. Locations in the northern sector and northern urban areas, and then LPG filling plant. The only one in there is the energy sector shortfall and debt repayment levy. Facilitate the energy sector debt recovery. How much money is there now?
Certainly.
How much money is there now? So that when we are discussing it, we have a good idea of how this 5.7 billion the president says we would get from this fits as a jigsaw into what is there now. If there's nothing there and it's quarter-free, then we know we are starting afresh. Then we know that we would need extra amount of money to do what we're trying to do.
Certainly. Lawyer Jantwa, thank you so much for those thoughts. Prof, I'll come to you next. How do you assess the government's justification for charging us 1 Ghana cedi per litre of fuel, especially as far as clearing our energy sector debts are concerned? And listening to Lawyer Jantwa, there's a lot happening in that space. Talk about procurement issues, managerial style, talk about corruption. There are a lot of structural issues that need to be targeted as well. Do you think this is really a step in the right direction?
Definitely it's a step in the right direction. And greetings to all our viewers and listeners everywhere in the world. I will pay 1 cedi as my contribution to end the stifling energy sector debt. What about you? I will do that because we compare international standards and see what is happening all over there. Even in US and Europe, we have price differential. So you go to a gas station, they call it gas station, we call it fuel station. If you go to a fuel station, the prices are not the same. There's a difference of 10 cents everywhere. Now, what this government has done is that instead of reducing the prices from 17 cedis per the liter, that was reduced to 11 cedis. Now, if you have high 11 cedis, the government could have said that it is 12 cedis, which has the component of the 1 cedi in it without telling Ghanaians. That would be unethical, that would be dishonest, but some government do that because nobody wants to pay tax. So if the price have not been reduced and now they are being plain to Ghanaians that let's add just 1 cedi so that we can all contribute to that debt. So let's put it this way. Blindness, according to studies, research, blindness is one of the most difficult sickness or diseases on human being. Because when you are blind, your body is in darkness, you can't see. The same as light off in any country. When your lights are off, your country is blind. It is difficult for you to see what is around you. And it doesn't augur well for you for telemedicine, for a lot of things that you use internet to do. So we need electricity to run 24/7, especially when we are talking about 24-hour economy. And you look at the cost-benefit analysis. This is how I teach cost-benefit analysis. You buy a cup of coffee, and what do you get from that cup of coffee? So the price is, let's say, 4 cedis or 5 cedis. And then somebody will tell you it is yummy. So the cost, you know, is 4 cedis, but the benefit is yumminess. That is all it is about cost and benefit analysis. So what is the cost? We have almost $3.6 billion debt. And you think you can use demonstration to solve it? You think you can use threats to solve it? And who is supposed to bear the debt? We, the people, right? If you come to government and you incur debt and debt and debt, remember before you were voted for, you didn't have any power to go and negotiate any debt and take money on our behalf. We made it so. We voted for you to go. Now you can negotiate. So Nanado Nada is not in power. He cannot go anywhere and negotiate any, loan for us. So why do we vote for leaders and they always go get debt? So if you look at $3.6 billion debt divided by a 35 million population, that means every Ghanaian is going to pay about $100,000. A poor farmer there is going to pay. You see, the problem in this country is that it's on radios, and I have to teach how to debate on TV and radio stations. We yell over each other. We don't talk about substance. So NDC and MPP people will go, oh, your government did this, your government that. We need communicators to break things down so that everybody can understand. That debt there is crisis. If we share it among each Ghanaian and you are supposed to pay $100,000, do you know what $100,000 can buy? Do you know that it can change the fortunes of your entire family? And that is a debt somebody has incurred for you to go and pay. And the person is saying that the only solution is that don't do anything about it, just watch it. And then if you want to do something about it, we go on demonstration.
You're referring to that presser where Honorable Anodom Press says that there are going to be a series of actions.
Yeah, I've seen in social media that there's going to be a series of actions. So Kwame said it, and I'm also Kwame. What is the solution? Is demonstration the solution that we are looking for, or we have to tackle the debt? So I look at 10 benefits that the president talked about before he assented. First, he said that it will ease the burden on consumers. So if we don't do that for me to pay, because fuel has price inelastic demand, no matter the price, people will still have to buy it. If we don't put that on it, it means that the levy that we are paying, the tariff. So if I buy 100 Ghana cedis of prepaid every week, now I'm going to buy 150 Ghana cedis, 50% increase. Will you rather do that and pay 150, or you pay 1 cedi at the pump, and then that solves the problem? So let's look at alternatives. We are entitled to our choices, but let's look at alternatives. Would I rather go buy prepaid 150 when I was using 100 cedis every week? Now I have to go buy 150 because there is 50% increase. Or we will buy fuel and then pay 1 cedi, and that solves the usual problem. We have to make a choice. So if it's going to reduce the burden on the consumer, I'll go for it. The second one is that it's going to support our debt recovery. We need to recover that debt. We cannot be a country that we use about 70% of all the money we generate in servicing debt. what other money will be left for development? Our bridges are old, our roads are terrible, our schools are problems, our hospitals are problems, and we are using all our money to service debt because some previous government, all that they did was to borrow, and borrow, thinking that somebody somewhere, spirit somewhere, voodoo somewhere, will come and pay for those loans. We have to pay. So Ghanaians, we have to understand that we have a debt. You see, yes, it is true, Okafo, but you cannot eat well and eat sardine and good meat when you owe, and everybody's on your neck. So what do we do? The second thing he talked about was that it will bring renewed confidence in the energy sector. We have inefficiency problems. I'm all for PPP, that we bring the private people to help in the production. We also have some of the electricity company people who are among these. Illegal connections, they are talking to people, oh, give me this money. We have some bad nuts among us. We need to work on that to fix the inefficiency.
Bear with me, Prophet. I just want to slide tackle you a little bit on that one. You say
I like the word slide
tackle. You say this will help us. That point again that you made, renew confidence in the energy
sector.
How exactly is a levy, 1 cedi on every liter, going to do that? Paint that picture
because this
for
is
us.
Targeted. You see, when we had e-levy, it wasn't targeted. We even had a component that said it was going to provide 11 million jobs. Where are the jobs? If you have a tax system, I started by saying that no, people everywhere in the world don't want to pay taxes. That is why libertarians are saying that we should minimize government to the barest minimum so that people will be allowed to do a lot of things for themselves. But we live in the social democratic sectors where it has become necessary for us to pay taxes. But the taxes should be targeted in solving a problem. You just don't pay tax. So if I'm paying tax for Dumso, now we are going to hold the government accountable that, okay, I'm paying 1 cedi on every liter of fuel that I buy. So if there is Dumso, then what is my tax being used for? We can target the government and hold them accountable. That is why I like this tax, because it is targeted in solving a problem. If we all know that it is going to bring, look, recently the lights were off at my place. My generator wasn't working, and then the water was also not flowing. And I had to go buy this sachet. They said, Mr. Cool. I had to go buy that and use the scissors. I'm very practical in everything that I do. Use the scissors to cut and put in the bucket. The whole sack, I got like half of the bucket that I had to use to shower, to bath. Then the mosquitoes were everywhere. I don't know how they got to the room when the lights were off, and I couldn't sleep. I had to take painkillers. So normally when the lights are off, I have to go sleep in a hotel. You see, the challenges that people go through.
Abuse of drugs. Why do you take painkillers for mosquito bites?
Because I couldn't sleep.
That's the abuse of drugs. I'm telling you.
Just two painkillers will not kill me. No. 2 paracetamol will not do my brother.
Don't just take drugs.
Now you are a medical doctor. You are my friend.
That's because you're not used to the Dumso.
It's terrible. It's terrible. When the lights are off, your whole body is in darkness. You can't see. There's nothing that I can do.
Some of us will just open our window and sleep.
I know, but I can't do that.
Okay.
Because of security reasons, I just can't open my windows and sleep like that. I need to take care of my body too. So it is me.
Just one point you made on the taxes.
Yes.
That is targeted. It depends on how government uses taxes. I believe every tax that we pay is targeted. It's how it's used.
But when
That's
you
where
bring,
the challenge is.
I'm just doing comparative analysis. When you talk about e-levy, that you said that it's also going to produce 11 million jobs, and we didn't see the jobs, then where was the target? That's not the point I was making. Now, he talked about the trajectory that we've always used ad hoc measures. So we've not been able to solve the problem because it's a long-term problem that has accumulated for a long time, and we are using ad hoc measures. So this one is going to tackle it. Do you know that recently we have the Magufuli bridge in Tanzania, where they built 19 kilometers bridge, which is the 7th or so tallest in the world. And Magufuli he raised money like this to have their own energy sector Dumso fixed before COVID took him away. That is what I'm looking for, internally generated revenue to solve our own problems. But when we go and borrow thinking that it's going to solve the problem, we will use all our money. Now, every cedi that we have, we are using about 70 cents in servicing debt. So how much money will be left in taking care of other developments? And remember that every year, our needs are increasing. They are saying that about 12% increment in our energy sector needs because we have development areas. Places are developing.
That's right.
That means the demand for fuel and electricity is going to increase. And then our debt also keep increasing. When do we stop it? So I think this is leadership. You know, target this. It is going to solve doomsday. So when there is doomsday, I'm going to ask questions. That you said it was going to solve doomsday. I've been paying this 1 cedi at the pump. Why do I have lights off? That is the only way we plan in solving a problem in the long term. The other thing you talk about, the service delivery. You know, the service delivery, especially for the service providers, the energy providers, have been very poor. You know, has been very poor. Somebody cut a tree, falls on one of those wires, and then the lights are off the whole place. And you'll be calling and calling and calling until the next day that somebody will come and take care of it. Do you know that a lot of people are working from home?
That's right.
And without this electricity, there's nothing that you can do. So let's look at productivity. It is suffering because we don't have electricity. And electricity is used to power everything. But I also think that the government should begin to not only use this to solve the energy crisis problem, but we should begin to build our own plans too. In the long term, let's think about how we can also build, you know, get fuel from here instead of always, you know, getting them from abroad. Because 2 weeks ago, we're sitting here and we're told about 2.6 days left so that we don't have fuel. You don't have to wait till that crucial moment of 2.6 days because it cringed everybody. We should be thinking ahead in solving the problem. The last thing I want to talk about is that to set the energy sector, he said to reset the energy sector. I think we need to reset the energy sector. When do we say enough is enough of this debt, of the doomsday, and then fix it forever? And I think this is time for us to reset it. In doing that, we will address the long-standing debt challenge in Ghana and then bring relief to Ghanaians through the reduced tariff.
Prof, thank you so much for your thoughts on this particular one. That last question that you asked, for how long? That's been a question on the lips of many Ghanaians. How long are we going to have to bear the brunt of these structural inefficiencies? Are we always going to find short-term fixes? That's the question many people are asking.
There's another how long. This 1 cedi, how long is it going to go on for?
So people are asking, is there a sunset clause?
Exactly.
Right.
But
it's very important.
It's a start. You know, 1,000 miles begin with a step.
I understand that.
I
understand that, but we don't need a COVID type thing. If it's 1 cedi, how long is it going to go on for? Give us some idea.
Certainly.
If it's going to stay, then let us know it's going to stay, so that we all adjust to it. But I think it's important that government lets us know how long this 1 cedi is going to go.
In fact, thank you for that, because that
can even tell us.
Serves as a springboard for my question to lawyer Amaliba. We've been told that there wasn't enough stakeholder engagement, at least with the people, with fellow Ghanaians. GPRTU, we heard in that clip that we played, they say come June 10th, they will be taking some action. They were asked to reduce their transport fares by some 15%. I also was listening to former Finance Minister, Honorable he says that what you're doing is clawing back the gains that have been made. And if we are enjoying some reprieve, allow the people of Ghana to enjoy the reprieve. We also heard Honorable Ano Dompre say that this is just too draconian. And in the coming days and weeks, you'll be hearing from the minority. They're taking a series of actions. How do you react to these comments that are coming through?
Well, let me start by saying that if you are running an economy whose fundamentals are so strong, then the exchange rate would vindicate you. And that's where we are now. The exchange rate, which is the cause of all other matters regarding price in this country, is low. So as we speak now, your dollar is not behaving like it used to behave, which has an impact on the price of fuel. And you heard the president say that in the next pricing window, even with this 1 cedi, there isn't going to be an increase. At best, it will be where it is. So if you have managed an economy like this to the glory of God, not to the glory of Satan, and market women in your strongholds are singing your praises, in your opponent's strongholds are singing your praises, you can afford to do this, to deal with a debilitating, crisis. Are you happy, Helen? Every day, we are being threatened by IPPs that they will close their machines. Are you happy? How many times have you hit your head? We will shut down. 1 week we'll shut down. How many times? Are you not fed up with that? Are you not fed up with that? And I can tell you, sitting here, you see the barber who relies on electricity? You see the hairdresser, and you are a lady, you know that. You've been to places where they say there's no lights, and then you have to go back home, and then you'll be calling, Abba and I say, and buy. You see the welder. These people, I can assure you, will prefer on any day to pay 1 cedi.
Is it only them?
Oh, I'm coming. Don't structure my argument for me. Don't structure my argument for me. Okay. Hospitals.
Chief Executive.
Hospitals who use torchlights to do operation, I am sure they will prefer to pay 1 cedi to have constant electricity in this country. You see, I can understand my brothers because they are my people, the GPRT people, they are my people. I'm in the road sector, so I know they are, we regulate the road sector, so I know them, the Abbas and co. I can understand where they are coming from. That is consultation.
That's right.
Put us in the loop. Because we just recently reduced
transport fares 15%.
So they want to know what's the implication if this 1 cedi comes in. Is it going to affect them or not? They need those explanations. That I agree with them. And that can be done with what has happened now. It can be done. But do you know that in 2015, the energy sector levy was put in place by the NDC to clear all these debts? Do you know that? I once said here on this platform that the energy sector levy is now becoming like the toll debt, which was introduced 20 years ago.
Mortgaged.
20 years ago. Toll debt. I had toll debt. At a point, I was asking when will it finish? But it's like it's still on.
Still there.
You're talking about the toll recovery levy that we all pay.
Yes, it's still on.
It's still there.
In fact, it's still there, right?
Yes.
We're still paying toll.
Exactly.
Toll levy.
By then, I hadn't grown grey.
Are you growing grey?
I'm growing grey. And this toll
I
debt
don't
is still
see any
there.
hair.
No, I'm working on it.
3FM 90.
So we have a government that says that let's deal with these matters. When we handed over this energy sector levy to them, they mortgage it. These MPP people are not the mpre who is talking. They mortgage it, took loans. Today, ask the question, why the loans, when you took them, what did you use them for? You didn't use them in the energy sector. You didn't use them in the energy sector. Nation wreckers still have mouth to talk when this country is being fixed by a government that knows what it has inherited and that knows how to fix the problem.
But at least you agree with them on one score about stakeholder engagement. You agree that more could have been done to bring us all along before this was assented.
I have conceded, these are two people who are talking now. I have conceded with that of the GPRT people. They are my people.
Okay.
It's the MPP now I'm talking about. These people who had the opportunity to rule us. What did they do with the mandate? I heard Anodompre talk about a draconian tax.
In fact, he says draconian, insensitive, and out of touch.
What? Look, what was more draconian than a government stealing from people's pockets, which is the E-level? What is more draconian than that? Where a government sat down and said that, oh, people are using e-levy, there's a wallet, electronic wallet in their Momo. People's monies are there. Without government providing any services, government started dipping its hands in people's pockets. What is more draconian than that? I know. So I'm saying that this is a measure that will not immediately hurt Ghanaians because of the strong fundamentals. This is a policy or measure that, for me, would deal with the energy crisis. But I am from government, but I want to tell government that we are all watching. This money must go to retire the toll debt, the energy sector debt. I'm happy for one thing. They say that money will just go straight to them. It won't come into the government chest. Yes. You know how difficult it is when government...
Consolidated fund doesn't go...
It won't go there. Yeah. I know how it is difficult when money enters that pot.
That basket. It's a basket.
When your money goes in the
leaking basket.
The consolidated fund, yeah. It's difficult to get.
It is difficult.
Very.
So I am excited that for transparency's sake, they are saying that once it hits, it goes to the IPPs. And we will not have the IPPs threaten all of us. It is now becoming 1 2 million. And this is the solution to it. You spoke about the fact that I've even lost my train of thought.
He's heckling you. He's punching and clenching.
Oh, I think it's tough.
But I've forgotten what you said something I wanted to react to.
Okay.
But you.
I have a name.
You on my left-hand side.
That's not my name.
Look,
it's
government appointees. Monies are paid to the Bank of Ghana and the coupons are given to us.
Who pays those monies?
The organizations, the institutions, the entities. Bodies, yeah. They pay to, and then, so it is easy to deduct the 1 cedi. Bank of Ghana simply needs to, the finance minister needs to instruct the Bank of Ghana to take the 1 cedi from each person.
So those monies are paid from, so where you are concerned, road safety, by the ordinary Ghanaian to help you run. Is that it?
Yes, yes.
So that 1 cedi is then taken for your fuel?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
So the Ghanaian is paying twice where you are concerned?
No.
Inadvertently, that's what it is.
Ghanaian is paying twice, but I also suffer, so they should take the 1 cedi from me. Because this week, I was in Nkoko to deal with the issue of the haphazard parking at the Nkoko junction by articulated tracks. I was there to deal with that matter. Now, you don't expect me to put my fuel in there. But if it is about deducting the money, they can deduct it from source, from the Bank of Ghana, and it will apply to all of us. Okay. So, all in all...
It needed to be explained, that's why I brought it.
All in all, it is important that if this government wants us to deal with a debilitating issue such as this, and this is the only time, because this is the only time that we are seeing the city coming down. In my life, in my entire adulthood life, I've never seen the city come down so constantly like this. I've not seen it. Maybe you are older than me, maybe you saw it sometime. But me, I've never seen that in my life. It has never happened. So why don't you cash in at this time to deal with some of these problems before, when things go back again, we'll have been able to solve our own problem.
And if things do go back, then will this levy be removed? We're talking about a sunset clause.
No, this levy, there's no intention to take it back.
That means that you have every confidence that the city will still be strong.
No, because, and I didn't know that until now, that we never, in our pricing of electricity, we never factored in the price for fuel. That we have never done that. Yeah. How was government paying for that?
Robbing Peter to people.
But you know, in Act 1064, that is the Energy Sector Levy Amendment Act. Yeah. You know, there's a portion where they make provision for the Delta Fund levy. Yeah. The Delta Fund levy, one of the objectives has to do with, you know, providing support for feedstock. And when you look at Section 8 of the Act 899, it says feedstock, fuel to power plant, energy plant, power plant to produce or generate energy. So when you talk about...
So is that deducted? Is that deducted?
So we should be questioning that.
So is that deducted? So if it is to procure crude for the energy sector, I think that it will still stay.
Right. I thank you, Lawyer Malaba, for that. Also, let me come to you on this one. Lawyer Malaba says that when the fundamentals are strong, the exchange rates will vindicate you. Former finance minister, I was listening to him yesterday, I think I mentioned that he says that government is clawing back the gains that have already been made. Which position do you lean towards?
You know, Helen, I think in principle, I agree that we have a major challenge that we need to address. Because, as Prof said, doing so is scary. You know, I've had concerns to raise issues regard to how the government is handling the whole issue surrounding the energy sector or the power sector. But you see, there are a lot of red flags with the whole issue surrounding the passage of the Energy Sector Amendment Act.
Red flags?
Yes.
Talk us through these red flags.
First, lack of transparency. And you did, you made reference to that. Lack of transparency. The government did not engage the stakeholders.
It's not enough that this was mentioned in the budget, because this is not the first time when the finance minister went on the floor of parliament that we're hearing about this levy. It was actually in the budget that was read out, the first budget, the maiden budget. You say that's not enough. They had to do more to highlight this levy.
No, you see, the thing is that you are going to levy people. So you see, this is what I say. Let the poor Ghanaian breathe. You see, you are going to levy people who are already bedeviled with challenges. So what must you do? Engage them, consult them. And you see, ordinarily, you may not get the opportunity to consult every Ghanaian. But there are associations, there are groups that you may engage, consult, and they will be able to, you know, take or even discuss with you the feedback that they are receiving from their people. I didn't see that. You get it? And for me, it is scary. So that is the first red flag, lack of communication or enough engagement with the public. The second thing, you see, NDC is enjoying supermajority in Parliament. And you see the way they bulldoze their way through in passing this bill. That is a major problem for Ghana. Because you see, if they are to continue on this trajectory, that means one midnight we wake up and then the NDC government will pass a law to seize all our vehicles or to even mortgage people's homes.
That's a very strong example to use.
Because they have a majority and they feel that because of the majority, they can bulldoze their way through without engaging with even the opposition. You see, if you are coming across as a consultative government, as a government that respects democracy and the practice of good governance, you know, Prof is a governance expert. One cardinal point you must always respect: consultation, feedback, go back and rework on it. But what did you see? They bulldoze their way through midnight, by 11 p.m. thereabout. They passed a bill. That is scary. You see, and for me, as a lawyer, I think it's a major problem. I enjoyed the period where we had a hung parliament. Do you know why? Because at that time, before you pass any bill, you need to convince the opponent, the opposition party, as to why and as to the relevance of that particular bill. But in this situation, there won't be. And you see, if the NDC, you know, continue to take this path, if the NDC continues to take this path, that will be serious, sacrilegious for Ghana. Because you see, I see a lot of bills which will be just rushed to Parliament and get passed. They talk about certificate of urgency.
That's right.
What was so urgent about this bill? What was so urgent about this bill? If there are debts already the Energy Sector Levies Act, the Act 899, with all its amendments, prior to this amendment, you know, it had been the Act, Energy Sector Levies Act 2015, Act 899, had been amended 3 times. This is the 4th. And already we have some monies, levies that are being deducted, which senior referred to the ESLA fund and other things. You get it? So, what did we use those monies for? What did we use those monies for? And again...
So who would you be asking that question of?
No, government is a continuous business.
Are you saying it's not urgent? Is that what you're saying? I'm trying to get you.
No, I'm saying that, you see, I've heard government officials say that because it was urgent, that was why they didn't have enough time to consult. And I'm saying that what was so urgent about it?
IPPs.
Oh, senior.
Threats.
But how do you justify that? So because of that, you not engage the people when you claim that you respect them, the people who gave you the mandate, the super majority you are enjoying in Parliament. I think it's scary. You know, another thing.
But do you see the temperament of the minority? Are they ready to help the majority in solving this problem?
You see, Prof, the thing is that when a government shows disrespect to you as an opposition party, you also treat the government with contempt or discontent. Because, see, the government has shown clearly that they are not ready to listen to the minority in Parliament. Why? Because they feel they are just maybe midgets.
But are you following the trend when you talk about mighty minority and all those things?
I did.
When you call yourself mighty, you might not have been mighty as you thought.
Is it so, Ellen? Second, 1 cedi is too excessive. 1 cedi.
The 1 cedi per 1 litre is too much. How much would you have proposed that government charges?
You see?
That's 10 cents, oh, 10 cents.
No. Prof, I think government should have gone for 50 pesos.
Okay.
You know why? Because that would be more reasonable to the ordinary Ghanaian. Because you see, already, they are coming in. You are coming at a time when there were economic challenges, or the Ghanaians had to face economic challenges. Food prices were skyrocketing, and prices of even vehicles ballooned. I was telling a friend, at a time, I wanted to sell a vehicle that I owned just for a pittance, like 20,000 cedis. And that friend was pressurizing me to sell the car. You know, 2 weeks later, that value, that price, shot up to 35,000. Then I said I was not going to sell again. Why? If I sold it at that time, imagine the loss. So 1 cedi, too excessive. I think the government should have gone for 50 pesos, which would have been more reasonable. You know the third thing? The third thing is the bizarre circumstances where you see or hear government appointees say, I'll pay 1 cedi to support any solution to address the
challenges
or the energy crisis. You know, and I was making reference to that. Are they paying? Would they pay? These are people who are enjoying few coupons. Are they paying? They won't pay. So you see, and I'm just surprised because you see, this is a government said to have experts, communication experts. You know, one cardinal principle when it comes to communication is being sensitive. You are not paying, and you are telling people that you are ready to pay. That is being sensitive. You must rather rally consensus and tell the people why there's a need to pay. But when you tell them that you are ready to pay, it's as if you are paying when you are being fed, clothed, and filled. That is so insensitive. You get it? So I feel these are the major drawbacks. And you see, if this government doesn't take care, it is moving on a path that will be dangerous for this country. If you have an issue to resolve, which we all agree, and I have said in principle that I agree that there's a major challenge that we need to address, but the approach, and you see, when you look at the act, and Amaliba was talking about it, did he make provision for sunset clause? The act, Helen. Does the act make provision for sunset clause? Because you see, if you are solving a problem, it means that you are expecting that at a point that problem will be resolved. Is that not the case? Or the government is imposing the 1 cedi with the expectation that this one will forever be there? I'm scared.
You're scared?
That's scandalous. There must be clear path. Let Ghanaians see the end. What is the end of the road? Are we going to be charged forever? Or within the 4 years of Mohammed's second term, are we going to see this levy still imposed on us? There must be clear path. And I think this, because it was under a certificate of agency, it wasn't well thought out. Because if they had engaged with stakeholders, had taken the feedback of Ghanaians, and had taken into consideration all the issues that had been raised so far, even when the whole issue started, I'm sure the government would have had a better act than what we currently have. So for me, the approach flawed. The government enjoying supermajority in Parliament is a major issue that this country will have to work with. Because you see, yes.
I wanted to react to that. You say it's going to be a major issue. The people gave that mandate.
Exactly.
They knew what would happen if they went out and voted in that manner, if they went out and voted for the NDC to take up positions in Parliament. I think the people of Ghana were well aware of that decision. Does that not then give you the confidence that they trust that this government knows what it's doing? And if this government says we've got something urgent to address, that the people will say, well, we've given you that overwhelming mandate. If you think this is in the right direction, go for it.
You see, Ellen, you know, the votes NDC had in the 2024 election was rather because MPP lost the vote itself, or MPP lost Ghanaians in the beginning of 2024.
But that has always been every election. That's how it is.
No,
in the UK, in America, when they become fed up with one government, they vote for another. So it's not.
No.
This rationalization that there are people didn't come out. Who was in the room sleeping that day?
I'm not sure I've said that.
Who of them?
Let me allow Austin to land on this point for me.
I've not said
there are people didn't come out.
No, I've not said.
Who are there people?
In fact, he hasn't said that. Let me allow him to make his point.
No, don't add it. Please don't add it to me.
Austin, is he putting words in your mouth?
People didn't come out.
Okay.
Who are those your people?
I'm not into those kind of arguments. Whether your voters didn't come out or not, that's a non-starter for me. You see, my major issue is that Ghanaians voted for the NDC because they were fed up with the NPP, and because of the way NPP treated Ghanaians, the monies they had, the resources they had, and the deliverables, the things they delivered, I mean, they don't match. We voted you into power to be better than the government that is now in opposition. How are you being better than them? You started on a good note. But you see, with this one, my concern is that this one should be the last, the last thing, or let me say, the only thing government will pull, the only surprise government will pull on Ghanaians.
You say this sort of bulldozing approach, passing the bill at 11. This should be the last time they do that.
This should be the last time. This should be the only time they will spring a surprise on Ghanaians. Because you see, we voted for you because you said, Mama, we know Mama. We saw his first term. We saw what he did in his first term. And he told us that he's a reformed politician now. And we entrusted with him with our mandate. So if you are a reformed politician now, who is now a president, enjoying a second term, what should you do? Open up. Transparency. Transparency doesn't mean that just one time or one-off, I'll be transparent to Ghanaians, and the second time I'll hide the card behind me. No. So, Helen, I'm saying that this should be the last time they are springing a surprise on Ghanaians. Going forward, engage the people. Hear from them. Don't, bulldoze your way through Parliament because you have a supermajority, and ignore the voices of dissent.
Austin, final question then. Speaking of voices of dissent, do you agree then with the NPP? They say that they have a series of actions lined up, demonstrations, and so on and so forth. I expect to see a press conference or two or maybe three in the next coming days. Do you agree that that is the path to go on? You say that you have issues with transparency. Maybe the cost could have been a bit lower, and this should be the government's, first and last time of bulldozing their way through. But do you agree that the NPP should stage a demonstration, should go and hold some more press conference? Is that the way to go?
Ellen, they are entitled to say and do whatever they feel they want to do. That is part of the political system that we have, signed up to. But you see, would that help them? Would that get the government to withdraw the act, which had already been assented to by the president? It is not a law. He's a lawmaker. I think he should know by now. You see, the thing is that you were in Parliament. You chose to walk out. That is a great disservice to Ghanaians. You were voted to Parliament to even challenge, even if government has a supermajority in Parliament, and automatically
so
they have their
why
way.
I talk about temperament?
Why
if you
should
behave
you walk
that
out?
way, how can NDC work with you?
Helen, why should you walk out? I have grave, serious misgivings with what they did, because your constituents voted for you to be in Parliament. They didn't vote for you to be there when you are only consulted. They voted for you even when things are difficult. So you must be there. Why did you decide to walk out? To protest. That is political. Does it help the national interest? No. I would have wished that they would stay in Parliament, make their votes count, and even if they lose, they will lose with dignity. But you decided to walk out just to demonstrate to Ghanaians that you played no role in the passage of the act. But does that solve any problem?
That. We should stop that kind of politics.
Awesome.
That kind of politics where I walk out, and I walk out, it doesn't solve any problem. You see, I wanted to say something that there are some external circumstances that cannot be altered. But we can always change our inner response, and that is our power. The inner response in Parliament, the temperament of the minority calling themselves that, the mighty minority. You know, if you went to a senior high school and you call yourself great this, great that, almighty this, then you are not almighty, you are not great. You are just adding that accolade to yourself, but you are not.
Do you not agree that it's morale boosting?
No, but great school is not boast about who they are, that I am great, I am mighty.
So it props your confidence.
I know, so it is propping their confidence that, you know, we are mighty minority. You are not mighty. To add mighty to your name, adjective to qualify that you are mighty minority, you might not have been mighty as you thought. But the issue is that the temperament of the minority of always walking out. They even walked from Parliament to sit for a low standard like Wuntumi's case. Somebody who was a suspect and was being, you know, questioned for everything. A whole parliamentarians who were supposed to make laws left that for a standard of a regional chairman of a party. That is how we have sunk. We did not invent democracy. Some people brought democracy and we are learning. We should learn it the right way.
Thank you for that,
It's unfortunate that we are not learning it the right way.
Let me conclude.
Thank you for that, Prof. I'll allow Austin to conclude in about a minute. And then I'll take your thoughts, because I do want us to touch on very briefly the strike action, and then we can wrap up.
Let me conclude on this.
Sure.
You know, we didn't sign up for a situation where opposition, or let me say minority political parties, will walk out every time they are opposed to a particular law. We didn't sign up for this. And they should stop it. NDC did that. MPP is not doing that. Why are they doing this? You get it? It is not helping anyone. It is rather helping them politically. But you see, if you claim, as they do, they always do, that they love Ghana, they wouldn't be doing what they are doing. Because if you love the country, you will fight, stand and fight for the country. You see, let your minority, your voice, even your little voice, however it is, let it be heard. You get it? And it will rise higher.
Awesome,
and Ghanaians will get to know that this is what
Thank you for that. But just in a minute for me.
The massive vote Ghanaians gave the NDC was because they saw the rot that took place in the MPP. And so it was saying to the NDC that come and correct these wrongs. Now, a one-city levy has been posed to deal with something we all know in this country. It's a challenge, we know it. Look, I get embarrassed. When my daughter, who is 10 years, will say, Daddy, didn't you say that if my hammer comes, lights will go off?
Lights will come on now.
Lights will not go off. I get embarrassed when my daughter asks me that question, because I wanted to grow to be NDC. You get my point? So, if this is going to be resolved, whether it is a Rambo style, which the MPP likes using, or it's a bulldozing style, this matter went to Parliament. Parliament procedures were used. I can't see how that can be described by you as bulldozing. What is bulldozing?
You know why? Because
we have procedures in Parliament. Tell me that this procedure used by the majority leader or the finance minister is unknown to Parliament. You can't say that. So please, will the issue of the one city resolve the doom saw? That is all for me and you.
Amalva, thank you for that.
That is all for me and you.
Thank you for that.
A quick one.
I haven't said my last
That's true. And I do have to go to Lawyer Jantwa.
You see, Amaliba was talking about the fact that in passing the act or the bill, they use the processes in Parliament. You see, when you come under a certificate of agency, when you read the Constitution Article 106.13, when you come under a certificate of agency, it bridges or it shortens the process.
But is it known or not?
It's not, because you see, when you publish, one of the things you need to do is to publish it in the Gazette for 14 days.
And that was missing?
Yes, because it came under a certificate of agency.
Yes.
So the process is shortened. So it means that you won't get enough time to interrogate.
In fact, I'm not.
It's allowed. But you see,
Gentlemen, thank you for that.
How should
Because this is an urgent situation. This is
Let me allow Lawyer Jantwa to make his
in our energy sector, it's not
So let me ask.
It's not an urgent issue.
So let me ask. Who told the MPP to lose an election? Who told them to lose an election?
You see, had they not lost, they wouldn't have to be staging
I'm
demonstrations.
there with all lawyers, and you see the questions they ask. Who told them
Who told them to lose an election? I've come to chase you. I've done certain things you've seen. Will you not leave me? You leave me. If I've done my things right, you leave me.
You say Lady Ghana wasn't having any of it.
Having any of it. They could have won the election if they did their things well. And because of that, they should be responsible. I keep telling them, you need to build confidence with the Ghanaian again. Concentrate on that. 2028 is not far. When this government came in, 48 months, 4 years, it's reducing. Build confidence in the Ghanaian. This strike and it won't help. But let me conclude.
Yes, please.
Transmission losses, payment of bills, stranded gas, fuel for generation. We need an energy plan. The things that will stop this is crude oil market dynamics. Product pricing on the international market, CD performance, and last of all, ex-pump price projections. These are the things we need to look at to make sure that we can sustain this one cedi. When Austin talks about it should be 50 pesos, have we done the arithmetic to see what that 50 pesos means?
The projections.
In terms of the debt we want to pay, we need to clear that debt quickly. It's an albatross on our necks. And you know, energy sector, you cannot mess with it. It's like blood in your body.
Indeed.
The moment that goes, everything goes. And throughout the world, why is Trump going back to fossil fuel? Britain, fossil fuel. Germany, fossil fuel. Even Germany even went back into coal. We need what? A feedstock to generate electricity. And I think President Atta Mills did the right thing by helping us not export our gas, but to use our gas to generate electricity. It is key for everybody, for the old, for the young, for the not too old, for the child that is being born. It is key. So let's stop the kerfuffling around and look at how we clear this debt. This debt is huge. 80 billion cedis. It's no joke to mess around
Certainly, Lawyer Jantwa, thank you so much. Prof, I know you want to make a quick intervention. And then I'll ask Lawyer Maliba about government's plans. The strike action by nurses and midwives is still raging on. I want to know what the next steps are, and then we can...
So, Helen, our yearly energy demands goes up by 12%. And energy sector bills can collapse this country if we joke with it. Because the peak demand now that we have is 4,197 megawatts. But the government can supply 3,890. That means there's a gap in that. And I'm surprised that MPP appears to want to use every opportunity to rewrite their wrongs. This is not the time to gain political points. We are in crisis in our energy sector, and every hand should be on deck. Let's contribute the widow's mite of one city to solve that problem so that we can all have light, we can all sleep and watch our TVs and do our hair and then cut our hair and use electricity for work so that we can also catch up with the rest of the world, because for far too long we are behind and we need to double our steps.
Certainly, electricity is the blood that runs through the veins of any and every economy. But our midwives and nurses, some of them are still on strike. Yesterday, when we spoke with Dr. Tinkran, he's the General Secretary of the General Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. He says, in fact, they're not waiting for June 9th. They have escalated the action of withdrawing their services. Lawyer Maliba, I'll come to you, then I'll give each panelist a minute or so to also weigh in on this very quickly, and then we can part ways.
Helen, your father makes a promise to you that he would provide you with some goodies if you pass your exams. Unfortunately, he passes on. Your mother goes to marry another man who is now a father figure to you. That man calls you that, come. I'm aware of this promise to you, come. Let's sit down and see how the modalities for payment. You say, I won't come. That's the situation we find ourselves. Simple and short.
This analogy, Lawyer Malaba, is a very interesting one.
Very simple one. Because the nurses keep saying that the old government signed, so this government should just come and implement. We say, come. There are modalities. Let's discuss those modalities. We are not saying that we are going to start anew, but just come. Then you hear some of them say that they will only come when they get an alert on their phone, killing before they come. Why? This government is not saying that the nurses have no case and that what they are doing is wrong. But we are a new government. We have come into the system. We are saying that, having signed this, we are a new government. Come sit with us. When? Even wars come to an end only when people sit around the table. Wars. Eh? The Empire Wars, what, Ghana Empire, all those wars, Mansa Musa, all those wars came to an end when people came to the table. Why are the nurses doing that? So, and that feeds into the narrative that the leadership of the nurses must be looked at again. That woman, Perpetual Ofosu Ampofo, is a die in the wool of the MPP. So, you will notice that ever since this government came into office, she's used her leadership of the nursing association.
3FM 92.7.
To also push what government does.
Are you saying that this action is politically motivated?
Yes. Yes. This same woman who was their leader and in the MPP time refused to join Workers' Association when galamsey was at its height and Ghanaian workers came together to say they want to demonstrate. She single-handedly caused the removal of nurses out of that association because it was a government that her umbilical cord was tied to.
Umbilical cord?
Now,
what umbilical cord? Explain that for us now.
Because her apron.
Now he's a gynecologist, right?
Her apron strings.
Her apron strings.
We're tied to the MPP, eh?
Her apron strings. That's another way of looking at it. Now.
Her apron strings. Tied.
In just a minute for me,
I'm
please,
going to close now. I'm just going to close.
My time is up, please.
I also want to blame my party. When internal elections are being held in various associations, we must show interest.
Well, that only makes it more political.
No, we should all politicize it. Because you have MPP apparatchiks taking over institutions and using it against the government of the day.
Was that the case at Ghana Bar Association?
That's Ghana Bar Association is one of them. Ghana Bar Association, my people.
In fact, gentlemen, I'm being counted down.
You go to them.
This has to be another topic that I suppose we expand the tentacles on, because throughout the week we've seen this discussion take on a political coloration. It has moved, the conversation seems to have traveled in a very political direction, and Ghanaians are bearing the brunt of this decision. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, they are one of, I believe, 5 of groups, but they have the most number of members there. So that's why we see it biting. In Kolebu, if you go this morning, there's a lot of turmoil going on. Antenatal services, if that's what you're looking for, you will not get that.
Give us just a minute to talk about this. We're talking about lives here. You see,
I wanted to add something to what AB said. Do you know that they said that why the strike? The nurses are complaining about delays in the implementation of their 2024 collective agreement. This wasn't an agreement signed with the present government, and I think that is what AB wanted to talk about.
Professor, is that fair?
Yeah, I'm coming. Please let me land. I'm still in the air. Government is a continuous business, but I'm still in the air. Yes, but if I'm a chair of a board, now the previous board made an agreement to increase salaries of all workforce there. But I come to see that, okay, there were loans, there were this, there were that. We are not in a capacity to do that. And then I call you that, come and let's renegotiate. That is fair enough. But if you go and then you renegotiate and then they don't understand, but the current government comes and see that there's a problem in your agreement in 2024, come sit at the discussion table and then let's discuss, and you say, no, I have a problem with that. So they should go sit and then renegotiate, because the urgency of the matter is that nurses saves life, midwives saves life, but do we have the resources? Did the current government have the resources to meet that agreement? Do you know that any government even will increase salaries of workers by 10% and other things for the incoming government to come and pay, and then you come in, you have to pay this, you don't even know where you're going to get the money from. That practice must also stop, so that when you come, you start your policies and then you cost it. Because every government needs to cost whatever projection that they are going to make. You don't incur debt for them to come and then
Gentlemen, I hate to be unfair. I hate to be unfair, Austin. It'll have to be in 20 seconds.
Just a quick one. You see, my issue is this. Don't they have a legitimate expectation? They do. If the collective bargain was signed on May 2024 by the previous government. Government is a continuous business. And we agree that the bargain suffered some legal challenge until January 20th, 2025, when everything was cleared. For 5 months. What are we waiting for?
You say that's just too... It's too much time?
And you see, what this government is trying to do is to renegotiate. When already your successor or your predecessor has already signed on to the collective bargain, why do you want to vary it?
So do you think that the response of our nurses and our midwives is proportionate to what the government is saying? Come and let's draw some more. Come and let's talk.
They have the right to disagree because already they had to reach an agreement and they all appended their signature. Why do you want to vary it? Give them reasons why they
Thank you so much.
Just a quick one. Adversarial politics does not help anybody.
See, the everyday Ghanaian.
I'm saying it's the Ghanaian that is suffering. We need to come to a situation where national issues we should discuss. You're going on strike. Does it help my old mother who is dying?
No.
Does it help you who is sick? Who does it help?
Why do we read politics into everything?
It doesn't help anybody. I plead that. I plead that we sit and discuss this thing so that we can get a quick solution to it, because people can't be dying in the hospitals.
Absolutely.
They can't be.
Lawyer Jantwa, thank you so much for that. Let me say a very big thank you to the gentleman in the studio. What a morning it has been. Lawyer Maliba, thank you so much for your time. Lawyer Jantwa, for your expert opinion. Austin, very grateful to you, Counsel. Prof, thank you so much.
We also give expert opinion. We also give expert opinion.
You guys are lawyers indeed.
Thank you so much. It's been an epic morning. But have you ever...
The best in the morning is on 92.7 Sunrise on 3FM.